I found the perfect sign build for The Witcher 3. You can deal tons of damage. You are tanky at some point and you also have Quen up all the time. Stay tuned for that. What's up guys, my name is Franky Boy. I'm a YouTuber and I'm also covering everything about Assassin's Creed and The Witcher. And in today's video I will show you my build that I think is perfect for sign building Geralt, and he's so insane because you can quite easily fight hordes of enemies and be tanky at the same time. Well, you shouldn't take hits, but you can to some point be not hit and cast Quen all the time. You will also be able to spam Igni and yeah, you will easily, like you can see, deal tons of damage. It doesn't matter where you stand, you just have Irden up. Irden will deal the damage. Also, Igni will deal the damage via burning. Burning is applied all the time. And your Quen shield, when it breaks, well, then you get a knockback on enemies and you have the time to cast again. So how do you build this caster, Geralt? I did the benchmark. I tested several builds for sign casting. I went into it. I tried, of course, the classic magic sensibilities. I tried Piercing Cold and it's awesome. But still the main is Euphoria for an Igni plus Irden build. So this build is kind of, you see, it's kind of mixed. And it still works. Let's dive into the details and why it works. Because it's quite interesting. Some of the skills are not needed. Even though Igni is our damage main, I didn't skill everything about Igni. So as for the gear, we are actually going for the full Griffin set. 6 pieces, because the set bonus is too awesome to miss it. Well, actually Irden is increased, the size is increased. Why are we not going for Grandmaster of the Forgotten Wolf? Because Irden deals additional damage with this set, but with this set we deal increased damage with every sign. So Irden, but also Igni is increased, and also the Quen knockback is increased, or Quen damage if we go into that. So the new armor, it's nice and it looks awesome, but still the main is the Griffin armor. 6 pieces of that. You could take sign intensity into it, so you go in the sockets and put sign intensity. That's definitely a nice try. Or you take vitality regeneration for including for additional damage. That's also a possibility with the invocation. Well, you can use that. It doesn't matter too much because sign intensity is very high with this build anyway. You have the Griffin armor with eruption on the chest. Yes, Igni explodes, and Igni is our damage dealer skill, so we need that. It's so awesome, and you will see how everyone is lit up. This is great. Also, we're picking up everything else on this build. Igni signs and intensity is awesome. That's what we're going for. If we want to maximize the damage, it's not maximized on my build. It's not like the armor is perfect. But perfect are, of course, the potions and decoctions that we are putting in. Damage dealt to foes regenerates vitality. Ekimara, always a must-have for every build. Also the water hack, damage dealt is increased while at maximum vitality by 50%. 50% more damage, it's huge, and it's multiplicative, of course, like the damage you gain with more adrenaline points. 3 more adrenaline points result in 30% increased damage. Toxicity is further increased by our Echidna. Performing actions that consume stamina regenerate vitality. That's one pick you could get. Also, you could pick like something for increased regeneration of stamina. 2 potions are what we need. Thunderbolt is maybe nice if you want 100% crit chance. Otherwise, I would totally recommend the Petri's Filter. Because you have sign intensity, but that's not the interesting thing. The interesting thing is signs always apply special effects. When you go into the character details, you can see on your sign intensity how much chance the signs have to apply their effect. And as you can see, I currently have 100% Igni burning chance. That's insane. And 100%, it can't be better. Why is it so high? Because I put the potion in. Without it, I'm at 60%. So this is the best potion for this sign build. Also, what's really nice is, of course, Maribor. It's always nice for adrenaline, or the Tawny for some more stamina regeneration, because you want to spam the signs. And actually, this makes it possible because the set bonus makes you free casting Ignis. Yeah, you're like Igni, 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 Igni. You will see that in a few minutes because it's so awesome. You have to stay tuned and see how insane that is. So you got the decoctions, the potions and the gear. What's missing? Euphoria and the build. Euphoria is a classic. It increases your damage and this makes you hybrid. So you can also use a sword if you want to. That's totally possible. You need that. We have a lot of generals things. Maybe you could pick like this if you have light armor on, or otherwise you would pick this one. Yeah, so the Griffin School techniques, you have some more stamina and sign intensity. So that's always nice for that. I wouldn't recommend the Cat School techniques on this one because the chest enchantment actually doesn't allow it to be a light armor. Metabolic control, always a must-have when you're on Euphoria. You always pick it. Adrenaline points increase sign intensity with this by 30%. That's insane. And also adrenaline regeneration and generation, not regeneration, but just generation by using signs. And yeah, that's what we're doing. We're casting signs. As for here, alchemy, you pick everything that is a classic. Hate Intolerance must have, Acquire Tolerance must have, and also the mutagens by synergy. This is awesome because Killing Spree gives you 100% crit chance after 3 kills, and that's really nice if you want to use some hits with your blade. It's always a nice synergy, and maybe you're out of stamina and just can do light attacks or so. Hunter Instinct, while at maximum adrenaline, critical hit damage is increased by 100%. That's not always the case, but you get the adrenaline by casting signs and then you take the profit out of it. As for the signs build, this is kind of insane because we're picking everything about Irden. Irden is so awesome on alternative mode with increased range, dealing damage, and Irden is buffed in the next gen update. It is now a viable choice and it is a boss killer. Irden is a boss killer, I will show you why. And also we're not just picking all the possible skills for Igni just to melt armor, for decreasing the armor, if we want to use some light attacks, and Igni sign intensity. What we're not picking is the alternate sign mode. I hate it, I think it's just shit. And Pyromaniac. We don't need it because we get the chance of burning 100%, but as I just said before, we are of course using the superior Petrie's filter, so we don't need that. We have it anyways. So that will be a wasted slot. As for Quen, we are packing the exploding shield, so we have the knockback and dealing damage. And yeah, this one is even a very nice pick too. You could pick that and maybe swap it out for the for this one, for the Hunter Instinct. I think that's also very nice, and Quen deals a lot of damage when enemies hit you. So this is the build. You're the perfect caster, Geralt, and I will show you how this works. So you're starting off with Irden, you're casting the alternative mode of Irden 2, and you're dying then. Of course, I'm just joking, so let's get into it and yeah, explain the gameplay for the fights. As I said, we're really starting off with Quen. Quen should always be up, and we're using Irden to slow down enemies. Alternate sign mode of Irden is also very powerful, and it keeps the enemies controlled. You can see how they are killed by Irden. It ticks down, and it's actually a percentage-based spell, so I didn't use any Igni. You can see it just melts them away easily. But when we add that to our Quen build. Quen does a lot of damage too. We get even more power out of it, and you can see they are burning, they are getting lightning hits. It's insane. Let's reset the farm spot. I will do another farm spot video on this as well, I think, and see how much damage we can deal when we really want to get into that. I actually call this build the Flash Fire Mage because it's almost like a mage, feeling like a mage, and dealing tons of damage of elements, and it's just so awesome. You can see how they tick down with 5.7k on Igni. With other armors, you don't deal as much damage, sadly, because they are dependent on enemies standing in Irden. Your self-positioning in Irden with the Griffin armor is much more easy, and also with the Viper armor you don't deal as much damage, but you can see I'm not tanky when I'm not concentrated. You have to keep Quen up, and talking and playing it on at the same time while being almost 2-hit is quite hard. So you're not the real tank, but you can make yourself somehow tanky by using the signs and yeah, positioning yourself correct with using Quen before the fight, placing Quen with an insane range, placing the alternate Quen, Irden, sorry, then buffing Quen, and then using Igni and getting into position. That's how you play it, and it's really awesome. Let's get a horde of enemies. Rule number 1 is choke points are your friend. You don't have like any deflection, but you can kite enemies on choke points very easily. Just go away, put them in Irden, and then you spam Igni all the way, and it's always for free. That's so great. No, not always for free, but most of the time. And remember to keep Irden up, and when you have that, you will be like safe almost always and be able to survive. With the alternative Irden, you also have the possibility to deflect some arrows, and it's just awesome. But remember to keep everything up all the time, because otherwise you will most likely die and be hit like one hit on Death March. But if you're playing on easier difficulties, that's no problem at all, and you can even farm this on Death March. As you can see, I'm simply just spamming Igni, and it's so awesome. I love this build, and I think with the flashes of the Irden, or with the lightning of the Irden, in combination with the burning effect and the crowd control, it has very high potential of being one of the most fun builds in The Witcher that ever existed. And I'm curious what you think about this build, because yeah, I love it. It's so awesome, and you can use it all day and have fun with it. Alright guys, I hope you learned something today. If you did so, feel free to subscribe for more Witcher content, or maybe even Hogwarts Legacy content in the future. I like to dive into games really deep and do all the benchmarks, test all the possible builds and change them up and improve them. It's always nice to be maximizing the potential of your character, I think. See you on the next one. I hope you had a great time and are having a great time in 2023. So many nice builds possible. I got some others coming. See you in the next one. Goodbye, and always remember to keep the bell activated, of course.